So my name is Pedro. My full name is Pedro Henrique Garcia de Paula Freitas. I'm from Brazil, the state of São Paulo, the city of Campinas. It's the second largest metropolitan area in my state. And well, we are in South America and we speak Portuguese. There's 200 and something million people. So we are the fiftieth, not largest, I don't know how to say that, with the biggest population. And well, we are the number one exporters of sugarcane and I think corn and coffee as well, either first or second. So our agriculture is really strong. So we had a dictatorship in 1964 till 1988, I think. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty good with history. And we went back and forth with more left wing and then right wing. And then we had 13 years of a left wing party. But mostly we are nowhere close to socialism. So we've never been. I mean, even when we were at the left wing, it was still, I mean, at most, uh, like a well-being. How do you say that? I forgot in English. But like when you provide the basic, but you're still super capitalistic. You know. I'm studying criminal justice. I chose that because I just thought it was gonna be super cool, and it was a lot more than I expected. I fell in love with the program. The professors are so good, and well, right now I'm about to graduate in May, and I got an internship here in Brazil at a specialized division in the investigative police, because here in Brazil we have patrol and investigation completely separate, like it's two different polices. So, and I'm working where I work, we have a homicide division, a property crime division, and a drug crime division. I work at the property crime, and well, I'm just totally in love with what I study. There's not a lot to talk about. Like, I just love studying crime and criminal behavior and trying to understand why people do what they do. And well, that's my passion. I love fishing and just being around nature in general. Like, I'm certainly an outdoor kind of guy, but I also enjoy my Netflix and just watching Netflix in bed all day, eating popcorn with my girlfriend. You know, that's the perfect scenario for me. It's especially during quarantine. Mom, my dad, they're divorced. I have my brother. He lives with me and my mom. I also have a sister from my dad's side who has a girl and a boy. So I have a nephew and a niece. And then from my mom's side, well, both my grandparents are still alive, and I don't get to see them a lot because of COVID right now, but we're pretty united family. Like, we used to see each other a lot, especially from my mom's side. We're super close, but we are very family centered forever. Like, it's not like, okay, you're 18, goodbye, and then I'll see you at Thanksgiving. It's like, okay, goodbye, I'll see you next week. It's hard for my mom to accept that I wanted to study abroad and maybe work abroad because it's so out of our reality. Like, we're mostly raised to continue around our family even after graduation and stuff. I would say my favorite thing to eat for lunch and dinner would be just rice, beans, ground beef, and mashed potatoes. Yeah, that would be because it's just so homey. Like, my mom does it a lot, and we're just here. We every day we eat rice, beans, and something, right? So that's why I guess the mashed potatoes and the ground beef is my favorite, because the ground beef just matches the mashed potato, and it's like, And my favorite American food, well, I gotta say, the one thing I love the most for the two years that I've been there,
Hmm.
I think was Denny's. So just
Awesome.
breakfast food. I know it's really bad for your heart, and just not good for like it's just not good bacon and stuff. But I just love it. Or even Waffle House. Just go to Waffle House and get the all star thing, the thing
Yeah.
that comes with everything. Well, I think what I mostly like about the UF being an international student is that I I was treated like a human being, for every staff and every faculty that I had experience with. I know that that's not a rule because I mean, you know, I'm white and my English is really good, so I'm not saying I represent every international student, but for the most part, I had a really good experience in regards to feeling accepted and feeling that I belong, and not and still being able to express my culture. Like that was, I mean, the Buford Center, that was the best part of UF because for real, like I got to appreciate my culture a lot more than I used to before I went to the US. Like I think after I went to UF, I started to realize how amazing my culture is and how amazing it is that we have so many cultures and international night is
Mhm.
just so like it's I remember my first international night, that's when it hit me. I was like, God, I didn't know, there was so much diversity. And also the support that international admissions give us in regards to immigration issues. I mean, every time I had a question, every time I had any kind of issue, they were really proactive on helping me. People are so late in Brazil all the time. And when I was in the US, even though I was late sometimes, I mean, you know that issue, like being 4 minutes late, it was like, oh my God, I'm 4 minutes late. I'm going to be the only one that's 4 minutes late. And here in Brazil, it's like, if you're not 15 minutes late, it will be awkward. 1:30 and you're there at 1:25, you're gonna be like the weird guy that gets there by like 1:40 at minimum.
Mm.
So so that was a shock when I came back. My mom started there, she was like, why are you so worried about getting on time for everything?
Oh.
That was really good for me in regards to discipline. So like
Mhm.
if I don't know, we were gonna travel and my mom said, well, I want to leave at 8 a.m. I'm gonna be ready at 8 a.m. Like super ready. Well, with challenges, I mean, there were definitely a lot, and like one of the main ones for me was the intimacy aspect because in Brazil we develop intimacy so quick. So
Mm.
like I met Marco when I got there to UF, and we bonded in a second. Like
Mm.
the first day I met him, I knew he was gonna be a super friend, and he
Yeah.
was. And I mean, I met Nicole and we fell in love in 2 days. So it's like,
Awesome.
and with Americans, it was hard for me to develop that kind of intimacy. I did develop a really amazing friendship with my friend Ethan, who was my roommate in my first semester. But he's an exception, I would say, because I had that hard time developing intimacy. Ohio is still Ohio, and so like even though Findlay is really diverse, when you get out of Findlay, you just get out of campus and it feels like you're an outsider, totally an outsider. And I had a couple of issues with people staring at me for speaking Portuguese,
Mm.
but I mean, in general, it was a really good experience. The biggest surprise was probably it wasn't, I mean, I think it was really positive, but going to the US made me a lot more self-conscious about my position in society in general. So
Mm.
like I was completely oblivious to the fact that there are, racial issues and just every sort of issues and prejudices and everything. I was totally oblivious. And when I went to the US, I started studying criminal justice and I started studying the system. And then I started to realize where I was. I was like, oh, the world is not what I thought it was. And that was a really a huge mark in my life because I completely changed my mindset. And I mean, working at the Buford Center also helped me with that. I mean, to understand all the issues that people go through, working with you with at seeing your work at service and everything. It was, I don't even have words for it. It made me a better person. It made me a better man. Just in general, I started to understand my privileges and to I don't know, just understand how human relations are in general. So easy to see. I mean, here in Brazil, we kind of hide all that diversity. We have so many people there. We don't have segregation a lot. Um, so I didn't actually see it. And then when I went to the US, I was like, my mind was blowing. I was like, I'm seeing all this new stuff that I had no idea was actually still a problem, And I mean, that was that was the biggest surprise for sure. And also that I got to have a really good friend that's American. That was a surprise. All the Buford crew and just all the people that went through my life, and then the IHSA team, the horse people. I mean, it was really. I thought it was gonna be there was gonna be a larger barrier. I thought that maybe they wouldn't want to socialize with me. Maybe maybe it was just not gonna click. And in general, it clicked. I never felt bullied or something like that. I always felt pretty accepted. And I completed that research and it was amazing. I mean, I had over 15 references and I'm really proud of that work because I proved that we are systematically disenfranchising African Americans through the criminal justice system. And yeah, I mean, I just don't have a lot to do right now because I mean, I'm going to graduate. So maybe I'll do that in my master's or when I work. Oh, it's something interesting about my country as well. We have so many different cultures inside the country. So like so many different accents, so many different foods. Yeah, it's a state that more than 50%, I think 70 or 80% of people are Afro-Brazilians.
Okay.
The religion even, there's a lot of African religions and the food it's completely different from my state. I mean, my girlfriend, she's one state apart, south. Like we share a border, and our cultures are so different. Like we had so many culture shocks over the years. Some words are completely different, um, and also just just the culture. Like I don't know how to how to be a person here. It's different from there. I love her state. She doesn't like my state. It's like because it was one of the first metropolitan areas in the country. So the city was not planned and then built, and it was just built. 1 hour and a half from Nicole City, there's this natural park that's simply amazing. It's like outstanding. Like people from all over the world come to that park and come to so many places here in Brazil. Wow. And we're just trying to go out and go to Europe and stuff. Like, guys, just there's so many states. And and also something I want to say for people that want to go to Brazil, there are a lot of places to go. Rio is not the only one. I mean, you must go, but you don't need to stay the whole time there. Just pass, stay a couple of days and go somewhere more exotic. And so there's so many exotic places here, so many exotic beaches because it's such a large country. It's so much to see. I mean, there are so many things you can do here. And like I said, for instance, where Marco's from, which is the Northeast, literally you're in a whole different country. Like nothing is the same. Maybe the supermarket is similar, but I mean, with the way he talks, I don't know if you ever heard me talking to him, but it looks like I'm speaking one language and he's speaking another one. For instance, I'm gonna say a simple word so you can understand how big it is. So like door, here I would say porta, and he would say porta. The R's, the O's, you know, here we say more like porta, and they go like porta. And when I used to talk to him, I kind of got his accent. So like, and it's so liberating, like because his accent, you don't have to hold yourself. You just say it, and it's so much more expressive. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's like when he used to talk to me, you know, there's just so much energy inside, and I'm like, oh my god, like. For instance, hot milk here in my city, we would say leite quente.
Okay.
And Nicole would say leite quente. E is actually an E. My E is more like a Y.